Hi all, I'm Dr. Trisha Peach, host of the Kidmin Ninja. This Sunday coming up for me is Father's Day. So I don't know when you're viewing this, but hopefully before Father's Day. I wanted to just talk about a few of the things my dad did right. Those of you who know my family, I have a fantastic mom and dad. My parents have been really influential in my life. For my other siblings as well. We all are in ministry, and I think that speaks volumes when my parents are pastors and all of us kids are in ministry. That shows you something right there. So my parents have been wonderful parents, and I know I've done a video on the things my mom did right, and I would like to do a video on the things my dad did right. And I want to give a shout out to all the dads today, whether you're biological dad, adoptive dad, foster dad, stepdad, all the dads. Thank you for stepping up and being a dad. That is a lot of work. There's a difference between guys that father a kid and are gone, and a man that steps up and raises his kids and raises other people's kids and raises all kinds of kids. And some of you are also dads to a whole bunch of kids in your kids ministry. Many of those kids have no dad. So you're the only example of a Christian man that they have. Thank you for doing that for our kids. If you've watched some of my show before, you know I'm very pro men in kids ministry. Kids need good examples of a godly Christian woman and a godly Christian man. So we need more men in kids ministry. These kids they love any kind of attention sometimes from a man that will acknowledge them and say, I'm glad you made it here to kids church today. Missed you last week. And a man that listens and loves Jesus. We need more of that. We absolutely need more of that. So the things my dad did right, there's an absolute lot of them. My dad, I'm just going to pick my favorites. I'm sure my siblings would say something else. They may have things they love better about dad, but number one, my dad, he was not above saying he was sorry. And a good example, I don't know if Dad remembers this. I bet my sister Erica remembers this. My sister Erica and I, Dad had rules on how we behaved at church. We're the pastor's kids. And I don't remember how old we were. The main service had let out, but kids stuff on Wednesday night had not let out. And our teacher had us playing a game of musical chairs. And my sister and I are so competitive, and we were after those because it was down to her and I for that last chair. And my dad walked by, and all he saw was us running in church. And he had a rule: you do not run in church. And he was so angry. He didn't see the teacher. He didn't see, because he just thought we were running and acting like wild hooligans in church. So he was so mad, he called us over and he sent us home and said we were grounded for the rest of the week for running in church. When he came home and came down the hall, I was like, we're definitely going to die. We were in our room waiting for death, and Dad came in and he got down on our level and he said, sometimes Dad makes a mistake. Sometimes Dad is wrong. And we just were staring like, where's the trap in this? And I guess the Sunday school teacher had come talk to Dad and said, no, I was playing the game. I told them to play musical chairs, and your daughters were the last ones standing. And he said, I am sorry. I'm very sorry. I thought I saw something. I didn't. And I should have found out more facts first. And I remember my sister and I just being speechless, because Dad, in our minds, this powerful guy, he's the pastor, and he got down on our level and was willing to say, I'm sorry. And for us, it made our respect for Dad go way up, because I think we trusted him more. Okay, Dad's willing to say sorry when he's wrong. Two, one of the things my dad always did right was he kept his promises. My dad has always been honest to a fault. If he says he's going to do something, he will do it. Like, he wouldn't say, I promise. If he ever said, I promise, he's going to do it no matter what. And my dad would always keep his word. He would never tell us a lie. If he said he was going to do something, it got done. And we knew if Dad told us something, he would always follow through. And I think that the fact that we could trust that Dad would always keep his word, we knew, okay, that kind of helped shape our view of God, that God always keeps his word and God never lies. I think that was helpful for myself and all of my siblings. Three, one of my favorite things that Dad did right. Dad was so much fun. And I think moms are fun too. Dad was a lot of fun. So Dad, we loved playing Kill the Giant. You know, we'd all be the poor people of the village and Dad was the giant and all of us would jump on top of Dad and be beating Dad down, try to pin him. And he would pick us up and throw us into the couch. And it would be so much fun. We would love that. And we'd be laughing hysterically until one of us bounced off the couch into the floor. And then we'd go cry to Mom and Mom would make us feel better. And we'd go back to Kill the Giant game. We loved that game. Sometimes all of us would jump on Dad's back and he'd be giving us all a ride around the whole house. And he'd be like, my back hurts. And we laughed so hard. We would go on long drives and we'd play games like Guess the Movie Line and try to stump Dad. And we'd end up laughing so hard because we'd be doing weird accents for Dad. Like, I remember one time we were on a long drive and we changed all of my dad's favorite movie lines to be done with an Elmer Fudd accent. So, the children of the night, what music they make. And my dad was laughing so hard he had to pull over. He was in tears. Dad was a lot of fun. He loved to laugh. And we recently told Mom what it was really like when Dad would homeschool us on Thursdays. He'd give my mom a break. He would say, hurry up, you kids. Why are you going so slow? Hurry up, hurry up. And usually by noon, he was so ready for us to be done, he'd start making little toys out of erasers, like little walking men or cadets, and he'd make trebuchets out of erasers and rubber bands, and he'd start snapping erasers at us to get us to work faster. Whoosh, whoosh. He's like, you're too slow, hurry up. Whoosh. Why aren't you done with math yet? And Mom's like, I can't believe that, the poor children, you know. And that was totally Dad. He'd have us all laughing. We're like, Dad, we're trying to work. He's like, work faster, I'm bored. But we looked forward to Thursdays with Dad because they were always a lot of fun. I don't know if I'm on 4 or 5, but one thing my dad did right is he was always available to listen, always. I remember walking into his office while he's typing away on a sermon when I'm a kid. So this is an old-fashioned typewriter, by the way. And I would say, I'm really stumped. I'm trying to write this. It was either English or history. And Dad would drop everything and say, all right, show me. What are we doing? Because Mom would make us go to Dad for English stuff and history stuff. And then we'd go to Mom for math and science stuff. Mom was really good at the math. And Dad would help me write it. He'd help me figure out, okay. And I think a lot of my writing I get from Dad because my dad's a writer. Being a pastor, he would write a lot of sermons. So if it was public speaking, writing, or history, I would go to Dad. He's definitely a history buff. And he would drop everything. And sometimes it was the middle of the night. I'm a night owl. Mom is a morning person. So if something was bothering me really bad in the middle of the night, I could go talk to Dad. Because he'd be sitting up watching his old shows in black and white. And I'd watch it with him and we'd have some really good talks. I would say another thing Dad did right was he went to all of our big events. Now, to be fair, it's because mom forced him. He would complain the entire time, but he went. So if we had a big recital, dad was there. If we had a major martial arts tournament, he was there because mom made him. And he'd gripe and complain, but he was there. And then afterwards he'd say, Dad's so proud of you. You did such a great job. You owe me because you made me sit through 2.5 hours of boredom and it was horrible and I lost my will to live. Is usually what he'd say. And we'd laugh. And looking back, yes, he hated sitting through all of that, but Dad was there. He was definitely there for all of it. He was there for all of our family vacations. He was making jokes and making us laugh, and sometimes we needed that because we'd be really nervous before like a piano competition. And Dad would be like, oh, it was like having a toothpick stuck in my eye. And that would make me laugh and it made me less nervous. I think one of the most important things that Dad did right is he gave us a really good example of loving Jesus and commitment to Jesus. Every Sunday, he'd be up there preaching, praying for people. Every day, he'd be studying for his sermons. We'd come into church, he'd be praying. We could tell Dad's passion and his love for Jesus and people. Because I very vividly remember, one time a guy rolled his truck and my dad got a call at 4 a.m. and he gets up and he's got to go because that's what you do when you're a small town preacher. They call you, you have to go. And he was with people in the hospital when they were dying. He was there with people when their baby died. He did so many weddings, so many funerals. He taught me that that's what a pastor does. You love Jesus and you love people. Another thing he did right is he gave me a realistic expectation for ministry. I remember him putting his hands on my shoulders and saying, Trish, all people are sinners and all people do horrible things. It's just some of them are going to heaven because they know Jesus. So he made sure I went into ministry without rose-colored glasses on. He's like, people will do horrible things even in the church. You keep your eyes on Jesus. You keep your eyes on Jesus. That was something I really appreciated. And I do think I got some of my love for music from Dad. Now, to be fair, Mom's the one that made us do piano lessons, and Mom's the one that made us, or allowed us to go to the competition. She'd take us to the competitions. It was Dad who forced me to play piano for the Sunday morning service because his piano player passed away, and I was terrified, and he's like, yeah, you'll look dumb till you figure it out. I know you'll figure it out. All those 8 years of Bach and Beethoven better have been for something. I was like 13, terrified, but I did learn. I learned to play piano. I learned to play keyboard. I learned the hard way. But I learned a passion for music and singing a lot. I know from my dad because he loves to play guitar and he loves to sing. And I played a lot for church there. So I would say there's a lot more that I love from my dad. I got my love of history from him, I know. I love history. Anything with history, people who know me know I love that. Love writing, written books. A lot of that I think I get from him. So Dad, I love you. Thank you for all the things you've done for me and my siblings and for still being a phenomenal dad now. I'm 46 and Dad is still such a big part of our lives. And thank you for being an awesome grandpa to your many, 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 many grandkids that you have. I'm trying to count how many in my head, but you have a lot of grandkids. Thank you, Dad. We love you. Thank you for all the things you did right when we were kids. Thank you for enduring all the recitals and playing all the games with us and playing the games with us on our trips, everything like that. We love you, Dad. I would love it if my siblings would comment down below with their best memories of Dad, please. That would be great. Sean, Erica, and Bethany. That would be awesome. All right. I love you, Dad. Have a really happy Father's Day, and I hope you like what I got you. I'll see you at Perkins on Sunday. All right. Love you guys. I'll see you next week on the Kidmin.Ninja. Thanks. Bye-bye.